There are major ripples being felt in the Indo-Pacific over the impending visit of the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, to Taiwan. She would become the first U.S. official after Newt Gingrich in 1997 to be visiting Taiwan. That's an expected visit. She's yet to land there. And China has, of course, reacted with a great sense of alarm, warning the United States of what it says is a violation of the One China policy. Now, Taiwan, of course, China says is an extension, a geographical extension of China. It cannot be regarded as a separate territory. And there are lots of mind games, in fact, being played out between the two countries right now, with 4 U.S. warships on patrol near Taiwan Straits. Let me go across to Srinjoy for more on this. Srinjoy, the Chinese, in fact, viewing this trip on the part of Nancy Pelosi as a violation of what they believe is Chinese sovereignty. How do we see this now playing out? Well, Srinjoy, coming back to you once again, the Chinese have taken exception to this impending visit to Taiwan on the part of Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it's going to get worse and worse, because already relations between the United States and China are almost at an all-time low. And this is despite the recent discussions between Biden and Xi Jinping. It's very clear that the Chinese don't like the idea of Nancy Pelosi, who is, as you rightly said, the top Democrat in the House of Representatives and in the same party as President Biden, going to Taiwan, even though she's been there before, as have other leaders. But the point is, the Chinese have taken exception now because they are a big power, they are a huge economic power, and they don't like this idea of America violating, as they call it, the one China situation. So they don't like Nancy Pelosi or any other American leader in Taiwan. The Americans are making it very clear that, look, we've been there before and we will probably be there again. But the Chinese don't like it, and we will have to see what action they take. That's the important thing. What is it that they will do now? Now that Nancy Pelosi has made it very clear that Taiwan is on her list of places to visit, what will the Chinese actually do? That's the point we have to look at. And that's something that will cause destabilization in the Indo-Pacific. There is no dispute about that the closer America and China are to this kind of situation, standoff, the more difficult it will be in the Indo-Pacific. How the Chinese will react, we don't know. But they will react, and they will not like it at all. So as a result, we have to wait and see what the next move of China is, because it's not going to be a very pleasant one for anybody.
And Srinjoy, the United States has pledged to protect Taiwan in the event of any Chinese aggression. And before Nancy Pelosi actually reaches Taipei, we are seeing U.S. warships patrolling the Taiwan Straits. How do you actually see the Chinese reacting to something like this?
Well, we are not sure if this will lead to war, because to invade Taiwan is a huge effort. To invade Taiwan is not something you can do in one day. You can't suddenly say, okay, let's invade Taiwan and be done with it. It means an enormous effort, military, logistical, diplomatic, lots of things. Now, are the Chinese ready to do that? Are the Chinese ready to face those consequences? I'm not sure that they are. But there will be many other ways of hurting America. There are many other ways of creating trouble for America. And this is something Xi Jinping must be working out. How can I hurt America without hurting myself too much? And that is what we have to wait and see what he actually does.
And Srinjoy, something from the Indian dimension here, because India has, of course, not been very overt as far as its overtures to Taiwan is concerned, though the Taiwanese have been quite friendly to us in the recent past, particularly in the aftermath of what happened in Galwan. They, in fact, stood in solidarity with India against Chinese aggression. How do you see Indo-Taiwanese relations actually panning out, particularly after what happened and what we experienced in Galwan?
Well, India does not recognize Taiwan. First of all, India does not believe that Taiwan is an independent country. India believes in one China, and India believes that the People's Republic of China is the China that India will deal with. Nevertheless, there is a growing economic relationship.
Let me just interrupt you because we're being, in fact, joined by a journalist from Taiwan. Ms. Ting Ting, thank you so much for speaking to us. How are the Taiwanese on the ground in Taipei responding to the impending visit now of the U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi?
Thank you for having me today. So no doubt we are actually seeing there's many huge interests in Taiwan. Many people watching with bated breath, because as far as we know, is that she is expected and she will probably land in Taiwan in just a few hours. But look, there are no official confirmation as of now, no official confirmation from the U.S. side, and there's neither official confirmation from any Taiwanese officials. But anything from Taiwan is actually still considered quite the usual and quite normal sense, because it is of such a high-level delegation visit to Taiwan. The Taiwanese official will usually only announce or confirm anything after the plane officially landed on Taiwan soil. But as to how the Taiwanese are reacting to this, no doubt many people welcome Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, but with caution, because we are actually seeing increasing in U.S.-China tensions on this issue. The Chinese, the PRC, have been saying very strong rhetoric, very strong sentiments, very strong words. But at the same time, the general population, as to, a lot of people ask me whether Taiwanese are generally fearful or are they scared. But look, they welcome Pelosi, they say with caution. But as to day-to-day life, like going to work, buying your food, buying your stuff, everything as per normal. There is no rush to stockpile anything.
Right.
Life is as per normal as of now. But no doubt there are actually pro-Chinese or pro-China or pro-PRC groups staging a protest at a hotel that is believed where Pelosi might stay. But look, Taiwan is a democratic country, so no doubt there are various reactions to Pelosi's visit to Taiwan.
Right, Ms. Ting Ting, if you could just hold on, because we are also getting a reaction from the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, over this particular visit. Let's listen to what he said.
First, the Speaker will make her own decisions about whether or not to visit Taiwan. Congress is an independent, co-equal branch of government. The decision is entirely the Speaker's. What I can say is this. This is very much precedent in the sense that previous speakers visited Taiwan. Many members of Congress go to Taiwan, including this year. And so if the Speaker does decide to visit and China tries to create some kind of crisis or otherwise escalate tensions, that would be entirely on Beijing. We are looking for them, in the event she decides to visit, to act responsibly and not to engage in any escalation going forward. With regard.
Let me go across to Ms. Ting Ting once again. Ms. Ting Ting, you of course spoke to us about the reaction on the ground in Taiwan, but is there also a sense of nervousness, perhaps even apprehension at the kind of muscle flexing that we're witnessing from the Chinese about this impending visit? What's the reaction to that?
Okay, I would say that the Taiwanese official, or the official stance is that we are ready. And there is actually a very high degree of military combat readiness that we are talking about. So I'll just cite some examples. From what we know as a military correspondent covering in Taiwan, we actually filmed fighter jets loading up with live ammunition, taking off from the air bases today in Taiwan. And what we know is that Reuters actually reported that there's a lot of PLA jets that actually flew very close to the median line at the Taiwan Strait. And the Taiwanese side also reacted accordingly, but they didn't mention how they do it, but we believe it's a scramble, and there's a very high attention, high alert. And what we know is that currently the military is also, let me just do this right. Okay, so what they did is that they raised its alert level to strengthening combat readiness. And the days are starting from today, the 2nd of August, all the way until the 4th of August at 12 noon. So, Taiwan has actually just ended this annual military exercise last week. We call it the Han Guang exercise. So it's a 5-day, 4-night exercise where it's like full-fledged military drills across the island around all places, be it the naval exercise, aerial, or on land exercise across all the Army, Navy, and Air Force. But look, 1 week on with this potential happening of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, we are now seeing that the military also upping their game, also raising their high alert. But on top of that, we are not only speaking this militarily, we are actually seeing examples of actual internet attacks from we are not sure from who, but what I know is that the Taiwanese presidential office has actually confirmed just like half an hour ago that at around 5:15 p.m. local time, the presidential office website was actually hit by an overseas DDoS attack. The attack traffic was 200 times that of a normal day. So it caused the official presidential office website to be down for 20 minutes. So the spokesperson actually stressed that they will continue to strengthen their monitoring to ensure the security and the stable operation of key infrastructure. So this is actually what's happening in Taiwan right now.
And one final question, Ms. Ting Ting. Now, when Newt Gingrich visited Taiwan as the House Speaker more than 25 years ago, we're talking about 1997, he made some very strong comments and pledged American assistance to Taiwan, and also the fact that America would defend Taiwan's territorial integrity and sovereignty in the event of a Chinese aggression. Many would say that the dynamics as far as the US and China are concerned in terms of military ties has changed significantly over the last 25 years. What do you expect Nancy Pelosi to be saying when she arrives in Taipei?
I mean, if Pelosi do come to Taipei, we expect her not to only meet with President Tsai, but there are also rumors, or actually the expectation that she might. Okay, I'm not very certain here right now because her itinerary is still very dynamic. It's getting very fluid. We have no official confirmation. But if she does make a public statement, no doubt there will be towards the lines of maybe voicing her support for a democratic, Taiwan is democratic, for voicing on democracy, But we have seen like how the U.S., especially how like what you add earlier on how Secretary Blinken also mentioned, and we're also looking at how Kirby also mentioned that it is not a new thing. It is not. There are precedents that previous the head of House did visit Taiwan. So now it is just a repetition. There's nothing new. It is
absolutely. Ms. Ting Ting, thank you so much for your perspective, a very enriching perspective on the impending visit of Nancy Pelosi, the U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives, to Taipei. We'll see how that pans out. Many thanks for joining us on the broadcast.